Peppa Pig and a busy day at school. It's Special Talent Day at school, and Peppa is very excited. She has many different talents, so she hasn't decided which one to share.
Wow!
Maybe I will jump rope, says Peppa, or sing or dance. Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, Peppa and George eat a good pancake breakfast. They get in the car and go to school. Peppa's friends have already arrived. Pedro Pony, Candy Cat and Rebecca Rabbit are there.
Hooray!
Good morning, says Madame Gazelle. Are you ready for Special Talent Day? We'll share our talents this afternoon, but first we have a very busy day. The class practices counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, begins Madame Gazelle. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, shouts the class. Then Madame Gazelle asks the class to name things that begin with each letter of the alphabet. A. Apple. B. Balloon. C. Cake. D. Dinosaur. E. Eggs. F. Fish. G. Guitar. H. Hat. I for ice cream. J for jam. K for kite. L for ladder. M for monkey. N for newspaper. O for owl. P for pizza. Q for queen. R for rocket. S for scooter. T for truck. U for umbrella. V for violin. W for watermelon. X for xylophone. Y for yarn. And Z for Zoe Zebra. Then it's time to play store. Peppa and Susie are the shopkeepers. What would you like? asked Peppa. Do you have any cookies? asked Danny Dog. No, says Peppa. But we do have a toy telephone that will be $1. Thank you, says Danny Dog. Do you have a loaf of bread? asked Pedro Pony. No, says Peppa, but we do have a dollhouse. Well, okay, says Pedro Pony. What can I buy for $100? asked Rebecca Rabbit. How about a carrot? says Peppa. Everyone laughs. Next, it's time to paint. Peppa wants to teach George how to paint a flower.
Wow!
Make a circle, says Peppa. George paints a green circle. Then he paints a green zigzag line. That's not right, George, says Peppa. George keeps painting. Madame Gazelle looks at Peppa's painting. What a lovely flower, she says. And George has painted a dinosaur. Perfect. At lunchtime, Peppa and George eat sandwiches with Danny Dog. There's watermelon for dessert. There's a new tire swing and Peppa wants to try it out. She squeezes in. Help! She cries. I'm stuck! Oh no! Peppa looks funny in the swing, but Peppa doesn't think being stuck is funny. Her friends try to help. They pull and pull and pull. Out comes Peppa. Let's play on the slide, she says. It's time for music, 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 sings Madame Gazelle. Everyone choose an instrument. Danny chooses the bongo drums. Look, I've got cymbals, says Rebecca. Zoe gets maracas. Freddie chooses a triangle. And Pedro has a tambourine. Everyone plays together. Boom, bang, crash. Oh my, cries Madame Gazelle. That sounds a bit more like noise than music. Let's go one at a time. Then each of you can join in. Ding, 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 goes the triangle. Boom, 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 goes Peppa's bass drum. Bang, 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 go the bongo drums. Crash, 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 go the cymbals. Shaka, 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 go the maracas. Lovely, says Madame Gazelle. Finally, it is time for special talent. Everyone takes a turn. Danny Dog's special talent is drumming. Bang, bang, bang. Pedro Pony does a magic trick. Everyone closes their eyes and he makes a glass of water disappear. Hooray! Zoe Zebra sings. Candy Cat jumps rope. Oh no, thinks Peppa. Now I can't do either of those. It's a good thing I'm good at dancing too. Then Susie Sheep gets up. I'm going to dance, she says. Oh no, says Peppa. What's the matter? Asks Madame Gazelle. I don't have a special talent that hasn't been done already, says Peppa. Of course you do, says Madame Gazelle. Think of something you really like to do. Peppa is quiet. She thinks. Then she smiles. I know, she says. She grabs her boots. Follow me. I'm the best at jumping in muddy puddles. Peppa jumps in a muddy puddle. Then everyone jumps in muddy puddles. This has been a very good day at school, says Peppa. And it has. The end. Peppa loves reading. Peppa and George are in the living room, looking at their books while Mummy and Daddy Pig read. Peppa notices something strange. Mummy, she says, why are you and Daddy reading the same book? It's our book club book, replies Mummy Pig. What's a book club? Asks Peppa. A book club is where we read the same book as our friends so we can talk all about the story together. We're meeting tonight, says Mummy Pig. Wow! Uh-oh, gasps Peppa, looking over at Daddy Pig. Daddy needs to hurry up, says Peppa, giggling. He still has lots of pages left to read before tonight. Oh, really? Says Daddy Pig. I thought I was doing quite well. But then he sees that Mummy Pig has nearly finished her book, and he quickly gets back to reading. George and I love reading, says Peppa. Please can we have a book club with our friends today too? What a wonderful idea, Peppa, says Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig makes a few calls and invites some of Peppa and George's friends over to talk about the red monkey.
Wow.
Daddy Pig sits down to read with Peppa and George. Peppa begins. The red monkey sounds out Daddy Pig. That, says Peppa. The red monkey sat on the mat. Ooh, ooh, ha, 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 cries George. Wow, says Mummy Pig. What fantastic reading. When Peppa and George's friends arrive, they all talk about how much they enjoyed reading the book. I liked it when the red monkey sat on the mat, says Susie Sheep. Me too, says Peppa. Peppa and her friends help each other sound out the words. Ooh, ooh, ha, ha, shout George and Richard Rabbit. Like little monkeys. Everyone has lots of fun reading together until the doorbell rings. Who's at the door? Asked Peppa. It's Mummy and Daddy Pig's friends. Oops, says Daddy Pig. I've been reading The Red Monkey and forgot to read my own book. Let's talk about that instead, says Mr. Bull. I love The Red Monkey. Yay! Cheer Peppa and her friends. Peppa and George love reading. Everyone loves reading. The end. Peppa Pig and the Career Day. It's Career Day in Madame Gazelle's class. There are some special visitors coming into school today. Peppa and her friends are very excited. You all know what I do, says Madame Gazelle. I'm your teacher. It's my job to help you learn, read and do math. And we learn art and music too. I love math, says Susie Sheep. Reading is my favourite, says Pedro Pony. Toot toot! Everyone is happy to see Miss Rabbit, who is the train engineer.
Wow.
I drive the train, she says. I take the grown-ups to work in the morning and then I bring them home at the end of the day. Did you come to school today? By car or the bus? Asked Mr. Bull. Maybe you saw me digging up the road. I have lots of vehicles and many tools. Mrs. Cat is next. I work in an office, she says.
Meow.
My main tool is a computer. Hello, says Mr. Zebra. I come to all of your houses almost every day. I bring letters and packages. I love being the mail carrier.
Wow.
I remember the day you delivered my missing teddy bear, says Peppa. That was a special day. Grandad Dog says, I fix cars and trucks. And I fill your gas tank when it's empty. Miss Rabbit comes to the front of the room again. I also work at the recycling centre, she says.
Wow.
Bottles go in the green boxes, says Peppa, and paper goes in the red, says Zoe Zebra. Everyone knows Dr. Brown Bear. I try to help everyone stay healthy and get better when they don't feel well, he says. I look down your throat with my tiny flashlight and give you medicine when you need it. Teeth are what I care about, says Dr. Elephant, the dentist. Going to the dentist can be fun. Sometimes there are stickers. Ooh, says Rebecca Rabbit. I love stickers. Ooh, say the others. Everyone likes stickers. Mrs. Zebra brings her potter's wheel to the front room. I'm an artist, she says. I make cups and bowls out of clay in my studio. Being a potter is really fun job. Miss Rabbit stands up again. Miss Rabbit, says Susie Sheep, which job are you going to tell us about now? Is it the one where you drive the fire truck? It is. When there's a fire, I come to put it out.
Wow!
Some jobs take people far from home. That's where Captain Daddy Dog goes. He is a sea captain. He sails his boat all around the world. Mr. Fox is a shopkeeper. He sells just about everything. Peppa and I have a shop too, says Susie Sheep. Miss Rabbit stands up again. Flying a helicopter isn't easy, but it's a job that I love. I come to the rescue when no other vehicle can. I make sure that boats don't hit the rocks when they come to shore. Do you know what I do? Asked Grumpy Rabbit. Lighthouse keeper, shouts everyone. I am a vet, says Dr. Hamster. I take care of pets and other animals. Dr. Hamster has brought some of her own pets to show the class. Miss Rabbit hops up one more time. I like all of my jobs, she says, but one is my favourite. The best job of all is selling ice cream. Ice cream for everyone. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa and Susie's argument. Peppa and her best friend Susie Sheep are playing Snap. I win again, says Susie. Peppa isn't happy. You cheated, she shouts. You looked at the card. I did not, cries Susie. I don't want to play with you anymore, says Peppa. I don't want to play with you anymore, says Susie. Peppa and Susie have had an argument. They are not best friends anymore. Mummy Sheep arrives to take Susie home. Peppa, say goodbye to Susie, says Mummy Pig. I'm not talking to her, says Peppa. And I'm not talking to her, says Susie. I'm sure they'll make up. They are best friends, really, says Mummy Pig. We are not best friends anymore, says Peppa. The next day is lovely and sunny. All the children are at the playground. Everyone is playing with their best friend. Everyone except Peppa and Susie. Susie is on the swing, on her own. She feels sad. Peppa is playing mini-golf on her own. She feels sad. Emily Elephant comes over. Please, can I have a go? Asks Emily. Yes, says Peppa. You can be my best friend. But my best friend is Candy Cat, says Emily. Susie watches Zoe Zebra play on the slide. So Zoe, if you want, you can be my best friend, says Susie. But my best friend is Rebecca Rabbit, says Zoe. Zoe and Rebecca skip off together. Susie is alone again. Then Peppa and Susie see each other. Hello, Susie, says Peppa. Hello, Peppa, says Susie. I think it's time you two made up, says Daddy Pig. Only if Susie says sorry first. Only if Peppa says sorry first, says Susie. I'll count to 3, and you can both say sorry at the same time, suggests Daddy Pig. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, say Peppa and Susie together. Now you can be best friends again, says Daddy Pig. Susie, let's play mini golf, says Peppa. Wow. Good idea, says Susie. Peppa goes first. Her ball stops near the hole. Susie goes next. Her ball knocks Peppa's ball into the hole. I win, says Peppa. No, I win, says Susie. But my ball knocked it in, so I win, says Susie. Peppa and Susie are having an argument again. Oh no! Ho ho! You two are just the same, says Daddy Pig. Peppa and Susie laugh too. They realise he is right. That's why Susie is my best friend in the whole world, says Peppa. And Peppa is my best friend in the whole world, says Susie. Everyone is happy that Peppa and Susie are friends again. The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa gets a vaccination. Mummy Pig was taking Peppa to the doctor for her health check and vaccination. Are we all ready? Said Mummy Pig. Yes, said Peppa. I've got Teddy. And I've got your red book, added Mummy Pig. What's that? Asked Peppa. It's your very own book, said Mummy Pig. It helps doctors see how you're growing up. Wow. Hello, Peppa, said Dr. Brown Bear when they arrived. Have you come for your health check and vaccination? Yes, said Peppa. I've brought my red book and Teddy too. Very good, said Dr. Brown Bear. You're seeing Dr. Polar Bear today. Suddenly, a bell rang. Ah, that means she's ready to see you, explained Dr. Brown Bear. Peppa and Mummy Pig walked into the doctor's office. Hello, said Dr. Polar Bear cheerily. Who do we have here? I'm Peppa, said Peppa, and this is Teddy. Lovely, said Dr. Polar Bear. Now, did you bring your red book? Peppa handed her book to Dr. Polar Bear. Excellent, said Dr. Polar Bear. Let's start by seeing how tall you are, said Dr. Polar Bear. She took Peppa over to the measuring stick. Peppa stood up very straight. Wonderfully done, said Dr. Polar Bear. I'm a big girl now, Peppa said proudly. Yes, you are, said Dr. Polar Bear. She got out her pen and wrote Peppa's height in the red book. Now, Peppa, can you hop on these for me, please? Said Dr. Polar Bear, pointing to her weighing scales. Peppa stepped onto the scales. These scales tell us how heavy you are, said Dr. Polar Bear. Ooh, said Peppa. That's good, said Dr. Polar Bear, writing in Peppa's red book again. Now, it's time to use a stethoscope to listen to your heart, said Dr. Polar Bear. What's a stethoscope? asked Peppa. A stethoscope helps me hear your heartbeat and the air going in and out of your lungs, said Dr. Polar Bear. I put this bit on your chest and listen through the earpieces. Peppa, said Dr. Polar Bear, would you like to listen to your heart beating? Yes, please, cried Peppa. Dr. Polar Bear put the stethoscope earpieces on Peppa's ears. said Peppa. It's going bumpy dump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump. Bumpy dump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump. Now it's your turn, Teddy, said Peppa, putting the stethoscope's chest piece on Teddy's chest. Is Teddy's heart going bumpy bump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump? asked Dr. Polar Bear. No, said Peppa. Teddy's heart doesn't do that because Teddy is a toy. Oh, I see, said Dr. Polar Bear, smiling. Next, Dr. Polar Bear got out her special doctor's torch. Wow! I'm going to look in your ears now, she said. Dr. Polar Bear shone the torch into each of Peppa's ears. said Peppa. That tickles. Dr. Polar Bear checked carefully inside Peppa's ears. That all looks lovely, she said. Now I'll check your mouth, said Dr. Polar Bear. I need you to open wide and say, ah. Dr. Polar Bear opened her mouth and showed Peppa what to do. Like this. Ah. Peppa opened her mouth as wide as it would go and stuck her tongue out. She yelled very loudly. Wonderful, said Dr. Polar Bear. Do you want to check my nose? asked Peppa. Thank you, Peppa, said Dr. Polar Bear. I can see that your nose is working very well. Everyone laughed. Dr. Polar Bear put lots of ticks in Peppa's red book. Now, it's time for your vaccination, said Dr. Polar Bear. Do you know why we have vaccinations, Peppa? Peppa put her hand up. Yes, they stop us from getting ill, and that helps the people around us too. That's right, said Dr. Polar Bear, impressed. Sometimes vaccinations are given as a little spray in your nose and sometimes as a tiny pinprick in your arm. Peppa held Teddy as Dr. Polar Bear gave her the vaccination. It was very quick. Well done, Peppa, said Dr. Polar Bear. Would you like a sticker now? Oh, yes, please, squealed Peppa, jumping up. I love stickers. Me too, said Dr. Polar Bear, smiling. Are there any questions you want to ask me before you go, Mummy Pig? said Dr. Polar Bear. No, thank you, Doctor, replied Mummy Pig. I have a question, cried Peppa. Have you had your vaccination, Dr. Polar Bear? Yes, Peppa, said Dr. Polar Bear. Good. Then you can have a sticker too. Peppa loves getting stickers from the doctor. Everyone loves getting stickers from the doctor. The end. Peppa Pig, read it yourself. School bus trip. Peppa and her friends are going on a school bus trip.
Hooray!
Is everyone here? Says Madame Gazelle. Yes, they say. Everyone loves school trips. Where are we going for our trip? Says Peppa. We are going to the mountains, says Madame Gazelle. Hooray! Everyone says. They all look out as they go. The bus is going to the top of a big mountain. It is very high up.
Wow!
Come on, bus, says Peppa. Up, up, up they go. The children sing a song as they go.
La, 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 la.
The bus gets to the top and everyone gets out. Come and look at the big mountains, says Madame Gazelle.
Wow!
Peppa looks at the mountains. She is very high up. Wow, she says. Everyone hears, wow, wow, wow. What was that? Says Peppa. That was an echo, says Madame Gazelle. It is what you hear when you call out up in the mountains. Come on, everyone, says Peppa. We can all make an echo. The children call out. Wow, they can hear. Wow, wow, wow. Everyone loves echoes. Come on, children, says Madame Gazelle. It is time for your picnic. Hooray, says everyone. Where are the ducks? Says Peppa. They love it when we have picnics too. Peppa and her friends look out for the ducks. Here come the ducks. Hooray, says Peppa. Quack, 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 say the ducks. Come here, ducks, says Madame Gazelle. Yes, come to our picnic, ducks, says Peppa. Then the ducks have a big picnic too. It is time to go back to school. The children get in the bus. Then they sing a song as they go back down the mountain. Everyone loves school trips. The end. Peppa goes to Scotland. One day, Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig set off for Scotland in their camper van.
Hooray!
It was a long journey and Peppa sang all the way. We're going to Scotland, we're going to Scotland in our camper van. Soon the sat-nav started singing along as well. We're going to Scotland. Until finally, we have arrived in Scotland, announced the sat-nav. Hooray! Cheered Peppa and George. Look, Daddy, said Peppa, pointing at the top of a hill. There's a castle.
Wow!
Shall we go and see it? Asked Daddy Pig. Yes, said Peppa and George. They couldn't wait to explore. Yes, said Mummy Pig. She couldn't wait to get out of the camper van. At the entrance to the castle, Peppa and her family met Mr. Stag. Welcome to the best castle in Scotland, he said proudly. I, Mr. McStag, will show you around, but first you must wear these. Mr. McStag held up some kilts.
Wow!
I love my kilt, said Peppa. How's yours, Daddy? It's a little draughty, said Daddy Pig. Mr. McStag showed them round the castle. He took them to the throne room. and up a secret staircase. Ooh, called Peppa, listening for her echo. Ooh, her echo replied. Then Mr. McStag told them about a mysterious creature that was said to live in the loch nearby. But no one knows if it is real or a made-up story, he said. Monster! Roar! Yelled George. Thank you for showing us the best castle in Scotland, said Peppa, as they waved goodbye to Mr. McStag. Monster now, asked George. We'll look for the monster tomorrow, George, said Mummy Pig. It's time for bed now. Luckily, George was just as excited about sleeping in the camper van. The next morning, Peppa and her family sailed out onto the loch with their guide, Miss Rabbit. Is the monster real? Asked Peppa. No one's seen it in all my years working here, said Miss Rabbit. Look, gasped Daddy Pig, there's the monster. That's just a branch, Daddy, said Peppa. Oh yes, said Daddy Pig, a little embarrassed. Peppa pointed to the other end of the log. But that looks like the monster, she said. OK, said Miss Rabbit, I'll take us over there. Hold on tight, everyone. Miss Rabbit zoomed the boat over to the other side of the loch. But when they got closer, Peppa realised she hadn't seen the monster, just some rocks poking out of the water. Oh, she sighed. Is that it over there? Asked Mummy Pig, pointing back to the far side of the loch. Miss Rabbit turned the boat round and zoomed back the way they'd come. But when they got there, all they could see were a few plants in the water. Oh, said Mummy Pig. Soon Miss Rabbit was zooming the boat round and round in circles all over the loch. There it is! I'm sure of it! No! There it is! It's definitely over there! I think we should head back now, said Miss Rabbit. We're all getting a bit dizzy. Miss Rabbit started to turn the boat around. As she did so, George, who had been sitting quietly the whole time, suddenly spotted something behind them. Monster! Called George as loudly as he could. Monster! Roar! But everyone was too tired to look round. We've stopped looking now, George, said Mummy Pig. I don't think there's a monster here after all. All the way back home, George had lots of fun talking to the monster who was following along behind them. No one else noticed a thing. Roar! Said George. Roar, roar, roar! When Miss Rabbit docked the boat, everyone stepped out onto the jetty. George waved goodbye to the monster. Who are you waving at, George? Asked Mummy Pig. Monster friend! Monster friend! Said George, jumping up and down. Everyone looked over and saw the monster. Shiver me timbers! Gasped Miss Rabbit. I didn't think it existed! Wow! Gasped Peppa, Daddy and Mummy Pig. Just then, the monster dived down into the water and made a huge splash. Everybody got soaked. Everyone was very wet, but they were all very happy. Not only had they seen the monster, it had also made them lots of muddy puddles! Cheered Peppa, jumping up and down. Peppa and George love Scotland. Scottish muddy puddles are the best. The end. Peppa is kind. This is Peppa Pig. Peppa is kind. Kindness means you are nice to others. There are lots of ways to be kind. Peppa shows George just how kind she is. She lets him pick which show to watch on TV. George is kind to Peppa too. Twang, bang, bing. They make music together. Peppa is kind to Daddy Pig. She laughs at his silly jokes. That makes Daddy Pig feel great. Peppa is kind to Mummy Pig. They fly a kite together.
Wow!
Peppa is kind to Granny and Grandpa Pig. She waters flowers with them. Peppa is kind to her friends. She invites Susie to a tea party. Susie is kind too. Thank you, Peppa, she says. Saying thank you is kind. Peppa and her friends visit Pedro at the hospital. Visiting a friend when they're not feeling well is one of the kindest things you can do. What else is kind? Sharing a swing with a friend. Peppa and Rebecca swing together at the park. Peppa helps wash the family car. Mummy and Daddy Pig think that's very kind. Peppa is kind to her neighbours. Peppa and Zoe give them juice on a hot summer day. Peppa is kind to animals. Peppa and George give duck feed to the ducks in the pond. Peppa makes hot chocolate on a cold day. She shares it with Susie and George and even adds marshmallows on top.
Wow!
And being kind means doing things together, like playing games. There are lots of ways to be kind. Peppa is kind to herself too. She tries out new hobbies, like roller skating. She also learns how to jump rope. Peppa makes sure that she gets proper exercise to be healthy. And she gets plenty of rest. Peppa loves kindness. Everyone loves being kind. The end. Peppa Pig, the official annual 2023. Story time. Molly Mole. Peppa and her friends are at home. Good morning, children, says Madame Gazelle. Today we have a new pupil. Hello, says the girl standing next to Madame Gazelle. I'm Molly Mole. Hello, Molly, everyone replies. Madame Gazelle asks Peppa and Rebecca to look after Molly. Playtime. Peppa and Rebecca show Molly the sandpit.
Wow!
Have you ever played in a sandpit, Molly? asks Peppa. It's good for building sandcastles, adds Rebecca. And digging. Do you mean like this? asks Molly. He digs a hole in the ground. Wow! say Peppa and Rebecca. Molly disappears down into the hole. Molly pops her head up on the other side of the sandpit.
Wow.
You're amazing at digging, Molly, says Peppa.
I'm a mole.
Replies Molly.
Moles are very good diggers.
Peppa, Rebecca and Molly laugh. The bell rings and it's time to go home. Mummy Rabbit comes to collect Rebecca. Then Molly's mummy arrives.
Hooray!
Can my new friend Peppa come to our house to play?
It's Molly,
If it's okay with her daddy.
says Mummy Mole. Of course, says Daddy Pig. I'll pick you up later, Peppa. Peppa rides in Molly's car to her house. He is very excited, and so is Molly. They giggle all the way.
This is my house.
Says Molly when they arrive at the hill.
Wow.
Peppa is confused.
But this is Rebecca's house.
She says.
Hello.
Says Rebecca, waving from the top of the hill.
We've moved in underneath Rebecca's house.
Explains Molly. Molly and Mummy Mole take Peppa through a little round hole at the bottom of the hill. Molly and her family live deep underground,
Wow.
The house isn't finished yet.
says Molly.
My mummy and daddy are still building it.
Wow.
Daddy Mole is in Molly's room when they arrive,
This is my new friend Peppa.
says Molly. Hello, says Peppa. Delighted to meet you, he replies. After a while, Daddy Pig arrives to pick up Peppa.
Come inside.
Says Mummy Mole.
Excuse the mess. We're building an extension.
It takes lots of people to build an extension, says Daddy Pig.
Actually, Daddy Mole and I are just building it ourselves.
Says Mummy Mole. The good thing about digging your own house is that you do what you want, where you want, says Daddy Mole. You can even put a door here. Daddy Mole, it's a hole in the ceiling. His head pops up through it. Oh, hello, says Daddy Rabbit. Doorway in the floor. What a good idea. Daddy Mole climbs back down his ladder,
It's great having a hole between our houses.
says Rebecca.
Now you can come round and play with me anytime you want, Molly.
Hooray!
And you can come and play with me anytime you want.
Says Molly. Molly and Rebecca love being neighbours. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.